Company's
Stone and Company.
Nashville's best sports talk.
Crank it up.
102.5 and 106.3.
Rebound on the score.
Make every play perfect.
Touchdown, Middle Tennessee.
We're going to win the game.
A Cromwell media station.
Nashville,
The suit is in the building.
acknowledge me.
Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming on the Game Nashville app. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. I didn't have to move. I just hung out with Rex Road for a little bit and just, stayed right here to start things off. 615-737-1025 is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, as we have a lot to get into today, including Jerry Caldwell, who's going to join us from the Bristol Motor Speedway. Obviously, he is a big part of the group that is wanting to renovate the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. There's a big meeting tonight, so we will talk to him and just have a conversation about that racetrack and that area and what it means for Nashville moving forward. Obviously, the Tennessee Titans reporting for training camp today. Mike Vrabel is going to address the media at 11:30, and then DeAndre Hopkins will be officially introduced as a Tennessee Titan. He'll talk at noon. Jim Wyatt from TennesseeTitans.com going to join us at 10:30 to preview some of those things. But we start with no pulse today, but I talked to Jared before he went on the air, and then I listened to him, and he's like, it's the Monday before training camp. I have my official expectations for the Titans. And I said, okay, this should be interesting. I'm always, we're at that point where teams report for camp and we kind of get into the 53-man roster and the record and all those things. And I got to tell you, as negative as Jared can be sometimes, I almost was tempted to text him and say, Bobo much with his expectations. This is what Jared had for the Titans and ultimately their record for this year.
So my official expectation for the 2023 Tennessee Titans is 12 wins. Now, when I started this exercise, I did not think my expectations would be 12-5. But because, again, the whole point of the process is to be fair, is to be honest, and it is to come away with what I think are fair expectations to hold the team accountable for. I'm expecting 12-5 this year. And 12-5 this year puts them right back with the rest of the AFC. Right where they were last year when they were 7-3. Right where they were in 2021 when they were 12-5 and the number 1 seed in the AFC. And right where they were in 2020 when they were 11-5. I think this is a 12-win football team. And those are my expectations.
That was Jared yesterday on Stillman and Company, weekdays 2 to 6 here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. 12-5 for the Tennessee Titans. Nick, your thoughts?
I'm just looking quarter-eyed at you right now.
Yes, you are.
I'm not too sure what I just heard there. I heard 12-5, and I'm confused.
So here's what I would say to that. Obviously, I'm not ready to go that far. Now, do I think 9 or 10 is likely? Do I think they can win the division at 9 or 10? Yeah, absolutely. 12 is lofty. And trying to figure out, okay, basically how I see that is he has them beating New Orleans, Los Angeles, and Cleveland, I would say. And I don't, that was the big part that I wanted to play and listen to. I think they lose to Cincinnati. I think they beat Indy. I think they lose to Baltimore and London. I think that they beat Atlanta. At Pittsburgh is really tough on a Thursday night because, one, they don't play well in Pittsburgh historically, and it's a short week. So I'm going to give the edge to the Steelers. Win at Tampa. I think they lose at Jacksonville. beat Carolina, beat Indy. Miami on a Monday night's a tough one because I don't know what the Dolphins are. It's tough for me to get to 12 wins because it's an easier schedule. It's the AFC South, but to me, there's a ton of toss-up games. Like I even could make the argument that New Orleans is a toss-up game because Derek Carr is going to have this chip on his shoulder wanting to ball out in his first game, and the Superdome is not an easy place to play. So you could say that right there off the bat, like, do I think they can go down to New Orleans and win? Yeah. But I'm not going to put that in the should win category by any means. I think it's a toss-up. So,
I mean, Chase, looking at the Indianapolis, I'm going to say they split. There's no way they just sweep them like that. I just can't see them.
Indy?
Yeah, I just can't see them sweeping them.
You have a lot of faith in Minshew or Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to go there yet. I think they sweep. I think they sweep Indy and they sweep Houston. They split with Jacksonville.
Okay, that's valid.
That's kind of where I think with that. I don't see that, like Cincinnati and Baltimore. I don't see wins there. I just think until I see something different. So let's say, and like the Chargers are here. I think they're better than the Chargers, but the Chargers are a team that they have to prove something this year. Cleveland, I have no faith in. Atlanta, I like Atlanta. I like Arthur Smith. I'm not sold on the quarterback, Desmond Ridder. Pittsburgh, I already mentioned. Tampa, I think, is terrible. Carolina, I don't think Carolina is going to be very good. I think they're still rebuilding, but, you know, you're going to get Bryce Young later in the season, so maybe he's grown into that role at that point. I actually think Miami's going to be good. So Miami, I don't know what Seattle is yet.
I mean, if Geno Smith comes out like he did last year, you're looking at Kenneth Walker, Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, Zach Charbonnet. Like, they have a 1-2 punch in the backfield there. Like, it could be a very lethal.
It's all about Geno, though.
Yeah, that is true. But if their passing game is not really hitting off, you know, the way they want it to, I mean, they could easily just hand it off to Kenneth Walker and he could do majority of the business.
Yeah, but I mean, if Geno has that, okay, the league figured him out moment, then you'll know by Christmas Eve. Like by Christmas Eve, we'll know what the Titans are. We'll know what everybody is. You know, you'll have it's towards the end of the season, so you'll know at that point. Like my conventional wisdom tells me that Seattle's going to take a step back because I think the league's going to figure Geno out. And then at Houston and then Jacksonville, you know, once again, that Jacksonville game, which is a week 18, which will be here, probably gets, you know, it's a TBD. It's probably for the division. You know, if I had to guess, it could be definitely for the division. So I'm not ready to make a record prediction yet. I like to see a roster first. You know, I like to watch at least one practice of training camp. And I'm not making fun of Jared. He does this every year, and that's fine. And then, you know, he'll alter things as, you know, we learn more. So I'm not ready to do that yet, but I don't agree with 12 wins. I don't see 12 wins right now. You know, could I make an argument for 10? 9 or 10 probably is where I would go. Yeah, I could. I could definitely do that. But 12 seems lofty to me because while I need to see Jacksonville and for me to trust Jacksonville, I'm not ready to completely write them off yet because Trevor Lawrence, you know, Calvin Ridley coming back could be really interesting. Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram. I mean, they
Travis Etienne.
Yeah, Travis. Yeah. I mean, they got some horses.
Evan Ingram. Like,
yeah.
That offense is loaded with a lot of assets. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying the Titans are kind of at at a disadvantage. But I feel like the defense, obviously, we've talked about them all preseason so far in training camp leading up to it. Like, the defense needs to step up this year. And if they do, I could see the Titans stretching out to 10 wins for sure.
615-737-1025. Do you agree with Jared that the Titans will go 12-5? What is your record in expectations as training camp officially opens? We're up and running here on a Tuesday, and speaking of training camp, we'll be out there tomorrow, as will Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace, and Friday for Titans training camp. We'll have player interviews, deliver the latest updates with practice as the team gets ready for the 2023 season. Coverage of Titans training camp is presented by the Simmons Bank Open, Parman Energy, and Caudell Vet Clinic here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Coming up next, more of the expectations for the Tennessee Titans, including comments from a former general manager on the Jags. We'll do that next. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
To the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
My student organization was suspended from campus for criticizing the Chinese government. We knew our free speech rights were being violated. That's why we teamed up with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. FIRE launched a full-scale campaign. They talked to the media, sent letters to the school's president, and put billboards up around campus telling our story. That's what FIRE does. They defend everyone's right to free speech. Defend free speech at thefire.org.
Paid for by thefire.org.
Tennessee's tax-free holiday is here. Head to Electronic Express this weekend for great deals on back-to-school essentials, like an HP Ryzen 3 laptop, only $399, or an LG touchscreen laptop, just $749. Electronic Express has laptops, tablets, printers, and more, all tax-free, Friday through Sunday. Don't miss an Apple iMac computer for only $549, or a Samsung tablet, just $119. Shop in-store or online with up to 60-month special financing. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, Ray Jeter here with Harness. Are you looking to take ownership in a position that will support your growth and development? We are an excavation and site utilities contractor. Several things set us apart from our competition, but we take the most pride in the professional development of our people. We have multiple openings for operators, pipe layers, and laborers. Our pay and benefits are second to none, including our 401k program. Apply today at selectharness.com. Harness LLC. Build people, move dirt.
Every day we are live and local.
I think Vanderbilt is steady, disciplined.
It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend.
And your source for Nashville sports.
I don't mind going to another team. You want to know what the coaching staff's going to look like?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Bring it on, Chop. Let's go.
You're listening to Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's some people that actually think Tennessee could surpass Jacksonville that aren't totally sold on the Jaguars coming into the season and said, they turned it on late last year. Let's see them repeat that and do it again. I'm not one of them, but I don't see the ceiling for them any higher than second.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Jacksonville is clear and far above any of those other teams in the AFC South. And the way Trevor Lawrence finished last year, showing that he's probably going to be a franchise quarterback that they drafted. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're talking about him the same way we talk about Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Patrick. I think he's going, Justin Herbert. Sure. I think he's going to be right up there with all those guys. And they have a very good football team. Doug Peterson, they have an excellent coaching staff down there. So I think by far Jacksonville is the one that's going to be that you have to beat in the AFC South, and I think they're definitely going to improve from even what they did last year.
That was Rick Spielman, former GM, now with NFL Radio. Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe here. Nick Frazier behind the glass on the ones and twos as we preview training camp as it's finally here. I mean, tomorrow there's going to be a practice during our show that we're going to be able to talk about. Kind of. I mean, I guess there's rules, but, we'll have something for sure that we can get into. But really looking forward to that. So some of you have texted in, and feel free to text or call 615-737-1025, our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Your expectations for the Titans this year. Jared yesterday said 12-5. I think more of a 9-10 win season is more realistic. Caleb says 12-5 is a stretch. I think the ceiling is 11-6, but 10-7 or 9-8 is more realistic. Kenneth says 10-7. Unnamed texter. Hard to really evaluate last year with all the injuries. They were 7-3 at one time. I say 10-11 wins. I think that's a good point because obviously it's a different team. It's a different roster. Like Mike Vrabel will always make sure to point that out that it changes year to year, and that's totally fair. This team has DeAndre Hopkins. Last year did not. Last year had Robert Woods. So I think they've upgraded, obviously, there. But this team was 7-3 at one point in time. And then Tannehill gets hurt. You end up losing him for the year. You have a ton of other injuries that you have to go through. So I think it is fair to kind of come back up a little bit and go to that 10-11 win point because of the moves that they've made, even though they did, cut some veterans but Ben Jones was hurt. Obviously, Lewan was lost for the year. You do have a rebuilt offensive line. Defensively, the question, I think, is in the secondary, but you still have your main – I mean, Amani Hooker is another one. Like, Amani Hooker's got to stay healthy. Like, you just signed him to an extension. So I definitely want to see, both safeties stay healthy. But I also think it's fair to go, well, if they hadn't gotten hurt, which they did, would they have been this? And so I kind of feel like that's where the texter was going. Ben from Nashville, morning Chase. I think the Titans' first 6 games are the toughest stretch because of the defensive ends that they have to play. With a brand new O-line and without our starting right tackle, I see us having trouble with the Chargers, Browns, Colts, Bengals, and Ravens D-lines. I'm thinking 10-7 is most likely if we don't go 4-2 in those games. I'm not scared of the Colts. I'm really not. The Bengals and Ravens, I think those are the two. Those are the 2 losses. But I feel like they can, not saying they will or they should, they can beat the Chargers. They can beat the Browns on the road. They can beat the Colts. That one is the one where I might say they should beat the Colts, especially earlier in the year.
Right. I don't know. There's something about division games, Chase, especially in the AFC South, when it always every year for the Titans, either they sweep one team and then split another. That's just kind of how the narrative goes every other year. I mean, that's just kind of how I look at it and perceive things. And last year it was taking over Indianapolis with the run game, and now this year it doesn't seem like it's going to be that way. It's going to be more of the passing game, in my opinion. That's just how I look at it.
Nick in Franklin says, why are people so delusional about Jacksonville? I mean, is that – I kind of feel like that's what it is. I mean, and I like Rick Spielman, respect him, but I mean, I've seen Jacksonville my whole life. They've never won back-to-back divisions. And I know that, okay, well, they've had different teams, but different coaches. And I like Doug Peterson. I mean, I thought one of the smartest moves they made when the dumbest move they ever made was hiring Urban Meyer. The smartest move they made was firing Urban Meyer, and then they go and they get a Super Bowl winning coach in Doug Peterson that can develop a quarterback, and that's what Trevor Lawrence needs. Obviously, Trevor took steps forward, but he also showed that maybe he's not what everybody thought. Like he's not there yet. Now, this coming from the person that has also said that I do believe he's going to be in the MVP conversation eventually. I don't think it's this year. So, with that said, he probably takes more steps forward, but the team as a whole, I'm not ready to anoint them yet. I mean, I got to see it again because they didn't win last year. The only reason they won the division was because the Titans had a collapse because of all their injuries and everything going on. And they had a bad offensive coordinator too. So let's pump the brakes on Jacksonville. And I feel like most of you have. I mean, I do feel like, most of this audience, obviously, they're a little two-tone biased, but that's okay. I think kind of look at Jacksonville and go, they're like me, like, hey, I need to see it again. That's my thing. Just do it again. Show it to me.
So looking at Jacksonville from last season, obviously it was the Titans division that they lost, obviously. But is that the perception everybody's kind of getting at, is because the Titans lost the division on their own and Jacksonville ended up going on that long win streak? Is that why people are kind of scared about them? Because I'm kind of in that ballpark with you. Like, they got to prove it again.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's certainly it. Just show me. I mean, Calvin Ridley's the X factor, or not the X factor, the question mark, because he's been off for a while, but he's still young, considered to be in his prime. So what is he? If he comes back and he's a 1,300 yard receiver, then Christian Kirk, is adding to that too, then okay, then you got something, right? But I'll say it. I believe that his seat was a lot hotter during the season than maybe we think, but the problem was when Amy decided to fire John, that kind of took a little bit of that control from Vrabel, because you've already disrupted the team and the season by firing the general manager. Are you going to add to that